You know that feeling when you finish a great book or movie and you just know there are hidden layers, these deeper meanings just waiting to be found? Well, today, we're going to go way beyond just the words on the page. We're going to learn a whole new way to see the stories we love and uncover meanings we never even knew were there.
It's that nagging feeling, right? You close the book, the credits roll, and you think, okay, that was great, but I feel like I missed something. You can just sense there's more beneath the surface. What if you could actually pinpoint what that something more is? Well, that's where this idea of a mental toolbox comes into play. Imagine having a specific tool for every job. Each one lets you look at the exact same story from a completely different angle, revealing something new every single time. So let's start building that toolbox. And these tools, they're called critical lenses. Honestly, the best way to think about them is like different pairs of glasses. You put on one pair and suddenly you're focused on emotions. You swap them for another pair and now you're seeing symbols and structure. Your perspective on the story completely shifts. Okay, the first tool in our kit is the reader's response lens. And just like the name says, this one is, well, it's all about you. It puts your personal experience right at the center of everything. So with this lens, your feelings, your memories, your own unique life, they aren't distractions. They're actually central to what the story means. The idea here is that meaning isn't just sitting there on the page, it's something that gets created in that spark when your life connects with the text. Using this lens starts with a really simple but powerful question. What was your gut reaction? That first emotional hit, that initial thought that popped into your head, and there are no wrong answers here. It's really just about mapping your own personal journey with the story. And then you can go even deeper. Does this character remind you of someone you know? Did this moment in the plot feel weirdly similar to something that happened to you last year? This is how we start to find pieces of ourselves inside the stories we consume. All right, now for a complete 180. Let's try to take our own experiences and feelings completely out of the equation and focus only on the story itself. This brings us to the formalist lens. When you use this lens, you basically become a literary detective. You treat the story like a self-contained object, and you look for clues in the author's craftsmanship. The specific symbols they chose, the way they structured the plot, the words they used. Everything is a piece of evidence. So a formalist might ask, what patterns or symbols keep showing up? A classic example is the green light in The Great Gatsby. A formalist doesn't care what the color green means to them personally. They're only going to analyze what it represents based on clues found inside the world of that book. And this approach can get super detailed, like why did the author choose the word house instead of home, or scent instead of smell? Every single choice is a clue to the story's inner mechanics, and the idea is that the text itself holds all the answers. And that's really the key difference right there. Reader's response says meaning is created by you, the reader. The formalist lens argues that the meaning is already baked into the text, just waiting to be uncovered. They're both incredibly powerful, but they look for answers in totally different places. So we've looked inward at ourselves, and we've looked closely at the text. Now, it's time to zoom way out, beyond the book itself, to the world it was created in. And this brings us to the sociological and cultural lenses. These two lenses kind of work together. Think of it like a camera. The sociological lens is like your zoom lens. It focuses on a character's relationship with their immediate world, their family, their town. Then, the cultural lens is the wide-angle shot, revealing the big, often invisible systems like class, gender, and power that influence that whole society. So, the sociological lens asks about the unwritten rules of a character's world. Is our main character a rebel, fighting against their town's traditions? Or are they just trying desperately to fit in? It's all about that friction between the individual and their community. And then the cultural lens asks the biggest questions of all. Who has power in this story? And maybe more importantly, who is silenced? How did things like money or gender or race determine what a character can or can't do? This is where stories really connect to our own world in a big way. And there you have it. Just like that, 4 powerful new tools are in your analytical toolbox, ready to help you see stories on a much, much deeper level. I mean, just look at the journey we took. We started with the most personal thing, our own response. Then we zeroed in on the text itself. Then we looked at the society inside the story. And finally, we zoomed out to the world outside of it. You now have the tools to analyze a story from the inside out. This quote right here,
really gets to the heart of why any of this stuff matters. It's not just about picking apart books for fun. It's about using these stories to build a deeper understanding of our own lives, our communities, and yeah, the whole world we share. And maybe this is the most important takeaway of all. No single lens is the right one. Each is just a different path to that same goal of understanding. In fact, the most amazing insights usually happen when you switch between them, looking at the same story from all these different angles. So the next time you finish a movie, a book, or even just listen to a song, remember this toolbox. Which lens are you going to try out first? Are you going to start with your own feelings or with the text's hidden structure? The story hasn't changed, but now your ability to see it absolutely has.